After countless hours of obsessing over optimizing my physical, mental, just my overall health, and watching Andrew Huberman videos, Dr. Mike Israel's, gym videos, I've piled up all that knowledge together into this one video to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that I wish somebody had told me to avoid when I started my fitness journey. So first things first, if you're expecting like a quick cut video, like my short form content, this is not going to be it. There's not going to be any quick cuts and some short attention span pop-ups here or there. If you can't sit through a 10-minute video, I don't know how long this is going to be, but if you can't sit through a few minute long video and just really think about how to apply these things and focus on what I'm telling you, I don't know what to tell you. It's not the video for you. But if you are here for that, let me tell you why you should listen to me and who I am. I'm gonna try my best not to make as many cuts in this video, but this is my first time making a long form video, so bear with me. I'm gonna try my best. So my name is Adam, and I started my fitness journey around 2.5 years ago, somewhere around that. It's been a really bumpy road, but I've fallen in love with fitness, and I've always been in love with the fitness and getting better and bettering myself overall. I'm kind of obsessive over that. And I'm also an online fitness coach, so my main thing is to help my clients battle this uphill battle of physical and mental hardships that it takes to overcome so many different problems and bad habits that you've accumulated over your lifetime to finally reach those goals that you have. So this is what I do, man. It's to be able to give this advice to you is something I wish I would have heard when I first started. So this is kind of going to be just like a conversation, like a sit down talk between us about the 3 things that I wish I was told when I started. So I don't know, let's stop the chit chat, stop the yapping. Let's get into the first thing. The first mistake that I wish somebody had told me to not make was comparing yourself to other people. I know everybody's guilty of this. I know you're guilty of it. I still am sometimes guilty of it, but the good thing is I'm conscious about it now. But when I started, even before I started, this is one of the main reasons why I didn't start my fitness journey, and why when I did start my fitness journey, I struggled really badly. So to tell you guys about how important this is, let me give you a quick story. So before I started my fitness journey, when I was around 15 years old or so, this is a while ago, I was always on the chubbier side when I was a kid, and I was always obsessed with, getting abs, because I thought that was the standard of fitness. If you have abs, you must be like so fit. So I really always wanted abs, and there came a point in my life where I started to slim out a little bit. I got a little bit leaner, but it wasn't, it was skinny fat. It wasn't like lean like how I am now. It's just I was just skin and bones. It was like this much muscle. So besides that, there came a point in time where I decided I wanted to start, my fitness journey. And this is when I was 15. Spoiler alert, I didn't start it there. And this is one of the reasons why. So fast forward 2 months from when I said I wanted to start, I was doing at-home workouts. I was doing push-ups, curls, and sit-ups, and planks. That's what my routine consisted of. And so I posted a picture on my social media, obviously for attention and validation, because why else does anybody post anything on social media, right? Especially when you're 15. I posted a picture of me taking a photo in the mirror, because that's what all the cool kids did back in the day, take a photo and post it of your abs. And this was the first time, obviously, I don't know, maybe I'll put the picture somewhere here or here. I still have the picture to this day, and it's a core memory because I remember how I felt when this happened, but I'll get to it in a second. So I post this picture on my Snapchat, and I'm ecstatic. Like, you should have seen me jumping up and down in my bathroom. I was so happy about how I looked, and so happy. I'm like, oh my God, holy shit. I finally see like an outline of my abs. I've never seen something like this. Granted, it wasn't so, amazing. I mean, now that I'm looking at it, but when I saw it at the time, I was like, holy shit, like this is the best physique I've ever seen in my life. So I posted the story, and one of my close friends at the time who had abs, and I would always compare myself to, is like, oh wow, I want to look like that kid. Like he looks good. I kind of want to, model myself based on how he looks. After about an hour or so of me being so happy that I finally saw my abs for the first time, this kid swipes up on my story, and meaning he replied to it. And I see that he replied to it, and I'm like, holy shit, oh my God, I finally got the attention that I wanted, you know? Obviously I'm joking, but no, I'm not. I was so happy that somebody finally recognized that I posted the story and recognized that I was doing it to get attention out of it, you know, to like, oh my God, look at you have abs now, which I didn't. But so he swipes up on the story, and I'm so excited to finally see what he says. And I swipe to open his message, and he goes, word for word, I still remember this. Wait, what happened? I can't tell you how terrible I felt after that. But you know, I tried to make myself feel better. So I'm like, oh, maybe he just didn't, you know, he didn't understand, right? So I'm like, bro, I see my abs for the first time. Can't you see it? And he's like, oh yeah. That might have been one of the worst feelings I've ever had, like still to this day in my fitness journey. That was before I started, and that was still a terrible feeling I had. Just imagine being so happy after comparing yourself to yourself, right? I was comparing my body at the time of that picture to how my body looked prior to, right? So I'm just like, wow, I look so much better. And just 2 sentences that somebody said messed up my whole entire mood. Can you imagine how that, and I know you can imagine how that feels, because you're doing it to this day, which is why it's a mistake I wish somebody told me to avoid. If you keep comparing yourself to other people, you're never going to be happy with the progress that you've made yourself. And if I continue to compare myself to other people, which from time to time I catch myself doing, even with how I look now, which I could say is, you know, really good and to myself, and I really don't care what other people think, but that's a whole different story. To have that mindset where you're just living, you want to live someone else's, you know, journey. You want to be in that, you want to look how they look. It's not going to cut it. You're going to, just like I did. I didn't want to work out after that. I'm like, well, what am I doing all this shit for if, you know, I think I look so good, and then all of a sudden the reality is I don't, or the reality, right? The reality is that you're supposed to compare yourself to yourself, because that's where the progress is. You don't make progress comparing yourself to other people. So I hope you guys understood that, and I hope you don't compare yourself to other people, especially on social media. Social media can be so deceiving and so misleading. For example, myself, what I post on my social media for short form content is after the gym with a, you know, crazy pump, and 2, I post it in crazy lighting, and well, not crazy, but pretty decent lighting, better than if I woke up and you saw me in the morning, right? In reality, I do look like that, just on not that good of a scale. It's in, you know, realistic form. That's what I look like 95% of the time. If you compare yourself to what I look like, and especially what other people look like at their best, which is what they're posting on social media. You know, social media is all about posting at your best. Why would anybody post what they look like normally on social media? They want to post what they look like at their best. And so if you're comparing your normal self to what people look like at their best, you're going to feel so shitty, you're not even going to want to continue. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. That's number 1, main thing. Second mistake that you need to avoid when starting your fitness journey, this one's a bad one. I wish somebody told me that the gym is not all about motivation. And let me talk more about this. So I used to feel like, not just the gym, but my fitness in general, I used to feel like all the components that make up fitness would only happen if I'm motivated. So I would rely on waking up motivated, for example, to eat the right breakfast, or go to the gym, or I don't know, go for a walk. Like any part of your fitness journey, which is made up of a lot of parts, or sleeping right, for example. All these parts, I used to think that I had to feel motivated to do it. And that's what's stopping a lot of you from making real progress, is relying on that motivation to do things. If you rely on motivation, if I relied on motivation to do things, I wouldn't be doing shit. Literally nothing. There's so many times I go to the gym. Now it's a different story because I've been going for so long. But what you don't need motivation, you need discipline, right? Now why I said it's different is because after seeing my progress and my results, I now feel more motivated than when I started, right? Because I'm like, okay, I have to keep it up and get better because I know I can, right? Once you see progress, you're like, okay, there's another level to this. And then after that, you see there's another level to this, right? You know, when you're a beginner, there's no progress to see. So there's not going to be as much motivation. Your motivation is going to have to be intrinsic, right? There's a whole different thing about intrinsic and extrinsic, meaning outside factors that are motivating you and internal factors that are motivating you. So if you're worried about your intrinsic motivation to do shit, you're screwed, right? And if you're worrying about your extrinsic motivation, you're even more screwed. But worrying about motivation at all is a terrible thing. You have to develop a routine and consistency, which is built on discipline. You're not going to build anything on motivation, right? You may start it on motivation, but motivation is not what's keeping you consistent going through, right? You have to build discipline. It has to become like you're building a new neural pathway where, okay, I'm going to the gym every day or 5 days a week, 6 days a week, or I'm working out. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to jump rope. I'm instilling this habit so that your brain literally locks in that habit is now a thing, and you have to replace this new good habit with a bad habit you previously had. But if you're relying on your motivation, you're going to wake up one day not motivated. What are you going to do? You're just not going to go to the gym. You're just not going to eat the right foods. You're just going to sit home and do nothing. You're not going to do any work. You're not going to socialize just because you don't feel motivated. No, you have to do that shit to do the shit. You don't get to just decide when you don't do it. And this same concept applies to your fitness. If you're not disciplined in your fitness journey, you're not going to go anywhere, and your progress is not going to be as good as you want it to be. That's the reality. And I wish somebody told me that, because that's the reason my progress was hindered for the first few, weeks, months, because I was so focused on, I have to be motivated to do it, or I can't go to the gym, or I can't sleep well because I don't care, it doesn't matter, right? If I'm not motivated, that means it doesn't matter. And then I would get upset at myself for not being motivated and not doing the thing I said I was going to do. And so it led to this cycle of just not being happy with myself over simple things like being motivated, right? I was so unhappy that I wasn't motivated that I became even less motivated. So it's a whole problem that, you don't want to be dealing with it. This leads me to the third thing and the third mistake that I wish somebody told me to avoid, right? You don't want to be doing this, is not caring about your diet. I cannot stress to you enough how important your diet is. I'm gonna give you guys a really good analogy and a good example that I heard from one of my good friends. If you have a Ferrari outside and you don't put any gas in it, it doesn't matter if you have a Ferrari outside. You're not gonna drive it anywhere, right? It's just gonna be sitting there. There's no progress. There's no movement. The Ferrari is not going to move if you don't fuel the tank. It's the same bullshit that's happening with your eating habits. You're the Ferrari and you're not fueling it with good food. So how are you going to expect it to progress anywhere? People have this misconception that if they want to lose weight or lose fat, that they have to eat like a meal a day. No, you don't. Maybe you'll lose weight for a little bit, but then your metabolism is screwed. So then if you eat just a little bit more than you were eating prior to, you're gonna go back to how you were when you first started. It's not sustainable. And that's something I used to do when a long time ago. I would eat a meal a day, like a meal and some snacks, maybe 12 to 1500 calories. And this is before I even knew what the concept of calories were, and protein and micro and macronutrients, all that stuff. It's so imperative that you take your diet seriously. Like, people think being on one meal a day is a diet. It's just so misconstrued that it's not a diet, and one meal a day is not something you're gonna stick to. So when you're first starting off, you have to make sure, one, you're eating enough protein, right? That's the number one thing that you need to understand. If you don't understand anything else, you don't understand calories, fats, carbs, micronutrients, all that stuff, you have to understand protein, right? If you don't eat enough protein, which would be 0.7 to around 1.1 grams of protein per pound of body weight, if you don't eat that much, you're not gonna build as much muscle as you should, right? Because going to the gym is only about, if I had to put a number on it, maybe 25% of the way. The rest of it is how you take care of your physical health with sleeping and eating and all that other stuff. So if you don't eat the proper food and the right amount of calories, your body will not have the fuel it needs to grow. And therefore, you're not gonna see any results after a while. It's gonna take much longer for you to get results if you're not taking care of your diet properly. You're gonna be unmotivated. And I know I said don't rely on motivation, but You should have some sort of intrinsic, meaning inside motivation, telling you that you're doing this for a reason for yourself. You're not going to be motivated if you're trying your hardest for 6 months while eating 2 cookies and a protein shake a day, thinking that you're going to lose fat and build muscle. It's just not how it works, right? It's not going to happen. And so you're going to be disappointed and you're going to want to stop. Rightfully so. I wouldn't want to do that shit either. Who wants to be on a diet, right? Who wants to eat 1 meal a day and not see any results? You're just starving yourself and you're not seeing any results. What's the point of that, right? There's no reason. And your metabolism is screwed up. There's so many downsides and negatives to not taking care of your diet, especially when you're starting your fitness journey. I don't care if you're going to the gym. I don't care if you're running. I don't care if you want to be a better jogger, a better jump roper, a better athlete. It doesn't matter what avenue, you're trying to tackle. You have to take care of your diet. That's it's top 3 most important, right? That's why it's one of the 3 mistakes. It's one of the most important things that you need to consider before and during and continuing your fitness journey. You have to learn more about it too. And so if you made it to the end of this video, congratulations, right? Your brain, I know all of our brains are fried from all the short form content that we're consuming. It's pretty hard to sit through a few minute long video talking about something that might actually be useful to you, right? So if you're here listening right now, I really appreciate it, right? That means you definitely want to change something about yourself and really improve on your fitness journey, and you've come to the right place. I have a lot of knowledge about that I've accumulated over the years, and if there's one really important takeaway I wanted for you to take from this whole thing, is that you have to be patient, right? It's not all going to be after a week or after a month. You have to be patient and wait for everything to start working together to build up. The growth is not linear. It's going to be exponential with some bumps. You're going to, at first it's going to be like a bumpy up and down, and then you're going to hit this one peak, right? And then it's going to start going down a little bit, right? So it's very unpredictable. The journey is going to be very unpredictable and very, a lot of ups and downs, and you're just going to have to deal with it because that's how it is. Because eventually there's going to be a lot more ups. The ups are going to be bigger than the downs. And so it's just going to be a continuous trend upwards, regardless if there's going to be a down or not. I really hope you were able to take away something from this video and hopefully make it your fitness journey a little bit better. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am an online fitness coach. So if you want to lose fat and build muscle and you want somebody to help hold you accountable throughout your fitness journey and provide you the map and the road work on how you can do it, it makes it so much easier for you now that I've gone through everything to be able to put it into a 12-week program where you get to the body of your dreams so much quicker than anybody ever could have. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link in the description to learn more about that. If you want to learn more about it, I want you to drop a comment with the word transform and put your Instagram handle in it so I can message you about it and so we can see how I could help. But regardless, other than that, let me know what other types of long form content you want to see. This is my first time making a long form YouTube video. So if you guys want to know anything more or drop some questions in the comments that I could talk about, fitness related, life related, I like a lot of philosophical things. So if you want to talk about something like that, by all means, it's perfectly fine. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you like the content. Check out my other short form videos. I have a lot of good stuff there. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.